regional budget that covers Asia. Asia's not going to do it because there's only 6 countries in Asia.
Yeah.
There's
It's very infrastructure preventive.
everywhere, so it's going to be driven by each country budget, right? There's no global budget for it because there's only 70 odd countries, and half of them are not countries, they're just territories and small islands. And so it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But there's some sponsors or potential sponsors who might buy long-term Longines for timing and what have you. But how hard are they going to activate?
Right.
Because their whole premise is around games time and accuracy and timing and results, which is their showcasing.
The diversity narrative doesn't quite fit for them, right?
Yeah, well, it may, but that's where we don't know.
Yeah.
Right, so that's my point. If you start, if this becomes their platform because of this sponsorship to utilise that, what we stand for as their positive responsibility to the consumer, to the communities, fantastic. That's what we need to get to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you read BlackRock CEO,
we did both
you read
years.
Twice.
Yeah.
He's done it last year and
And
this year.
Yeah. We use it a lot, actually. Yeah.
So right.
Yeah.
And that what he was saying is exactly right. I listen to my kids in their 20s and 30s. I say, and they think exactly what he's saying.
And that's the foundations on which we're building this. Definitely. And it's, again, very helpful to hear you say it. Sometimes we think we're set, we don't always hear it back the other side. So it's very helpful.
We bring a dash of credibility to the place, not to this place, I mean, just generally.
Yeah.
Because we're knocking on doors every day of the week selling stuff.
Yeah.
So we know what we have, how we've got to tailor our propositions to react to marketplace conditions. Otherwise you don't sell. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So there are essentially brands that essentially the easier you make it for them in terms of come on board with the Commonwealth Games and you actually get your whole package. You almost don't need to worry so much about your activation because you've
got to be very, very careful doing that because you unless you understand that brand back to front,
right?
You can't be all things to each. And I've always said sports do not know how to market. They know how to put a sporting team together and bring the thing. Be very careful relying, as a corporation, relying on the sport to deliver your marketing plan. They can't do it. You've got to do it. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's the RFU, doesn't matter what level, they don't do it. Simon Massey Taylor at RFU is one of the cleverest guys around. But he hasn't got the time to work for O2, Land Rover and everybody else and delivering their deal. He may have some assets that he can give them.
Yeah.
Right, so the BOA, because of the legacy of 2012, because they had the social media and support based on Team GB, Australia, when we did it, we had all these names and addresses who bought tickets because these things didn't exist. Phones or any of those data-driven things, but they had all this data. So when they sold their sponsorships, they were able to say, "And here's our 2.5 million database, which we can help you use to achieve your. We can help you access our database to achieve your objectives."
Yeah. Hence the digital strategy.
So eventually, the US Olympic Committee, they sell their sponsors for the USOC to do a tweet on their behalf. It costs the sponsor $2,500.
Wow.
Each retweet, right? So that's on top of their 20 million sponsorship, whatever. Exactly what BOA did with Nissan. Paid sponsorship and then they charged them whatever the number was to access that database to launch a new car. In Australia, this whole data thing, that's what we need. Data. We need to know who the fans are. Who are the people supporting the Commonwealth Games. We're even talking to the networks to say, if you're going to we want to share your data and know who's watching. And they said that becomes an issue from a privacy perspective, but some countries have that and some countries don't, you know, right? So, but if we can get that, then all of a sudden we know who our brand, people who follow the thing is, then we can sell that going forward, domestic, globally. But in Australia, for instance, there's an AFL team, right, that has a car company on its jersey. The club, through their supporter base, sell the third largest sales of those cars in Australia through that club, one club, purely through the data.
Jeez.
They sell 700 cars a year for that club, through the club, Highland Day.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why they sponsor, because everyone says, why are they sponsoring this mob? Because they sell 700 cars a year.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And so again, that's the world that they live in. And when we're selling now, who follows the Commonwealth Games? You know, biggest issue for us is demographic.
Okay.
You know, virtually the only who follows 1 foot in the grave. So you guys in the room bring down the average age.
And the irony of that, of course, is that the population of the Commonwealth is a youthful one. It's just that they're not engaged with the games, and
we're not sure if they are or not.
Right, fair
so
enough.
that's
Much
the
fairer,
point, right?
Yeah.
So we're activating. How do we get esports into the Commonwealth Games? How do we have some sort of relation with esport?
Yeah.
And that's a hard battle.
Yes.
As you can imagine from the people who are there. But we're winning. We're starting to win because of this relevance.
Yes.
So at the Australian Open Tennis, Fortnite.
Yeah.
What's the company owner? Whatever the owner of the company had a whole section of Melbourne Olympic Tennis Centre devoted to Fortnite.
Wow.
And kids were taking their parents to do that. They weren't interested in the tennis. And there was thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. Big article on why that became a massive draw card just by purely showcasing the game and them being able to play each other. It's quite interesting.
Very.
But it's very difficult too, because who do you go with? And, you know, what are the criteria the ISC's grappling with it? They can't work out how to put it together.
Yeah.
There's shooting and there's, mass blow, whatever.
Yeah.
But again, well, there is shooting in the Commonwealth Games, in the Olympics as well.
Yes.
So, don't be too holier than thou. So, all those things come into play.
Yeah.
So back to your point, sorry to be so long-winded. If you've got the right content, then you can extend the life and the value over a longer period of time. But the content has to be spot on and relevant and logic for a company to want to use because you're relying on the company to tell people that you're doing this. The CGF can put out all they like, but
company needs to want to tell the story because it helps them.
Television programs, just because they're on Sky or somewhere, if you don't know what's on, you're not going to watch it.
Correct, yeah.
So you've got to tell people you own it.
Yeah.
You have this stuff.
Yeah. That's very helpful. It's very helpful.
Very helpful indeed. I don't have any other questions. Just checking back, keep checking back, but no, I think that's certainly covered some. I think what's really interesting particularly is where we hearing the themes from you and your colleagues, but then also obviously each one person has got kind of different things, that we can then reflect into like our other conversations and that kind of thing. One thing that would be super useful, and whether this will come from you or someone else, I don't know, is it would be really fantastic to see any materials that you might talk to partners using around Commonwealth Games. I don't know whether you have standards decks or whether you literally...
Not yet. We do bespoke. Bespoke. We're working, at the moment, we're working up the content of again, we haven't had budgets. We haven't got anything
Sure.
to work through. I mean, Lagardère's been actually funding most of the people that are on board